Hello and welcome to The Reading Room, the podcast brought to you by your Rowan County Public Library. I'm Morgan.
I'm Atlanta.
And I'm Emery.
And here we are, most of the way through November. I cannot believe that Thanksgiving is next week. How did this happen?
I'm excited, though.
I mean, yeah, I am excited. I don't know why, because I'm not going anywhere or doing anything.
But you have cooking plans?
Well, actually, Jess has a great cookbook display out up front. That is one of our monthly displays. I think that will probably be persistent through part of December as well. At least it will be on Overdrive and Libby. But yeah, I have a couple friends who their diets have changed a little bit this year. And so they were like, all right, we can do turkey, but maybe let's not do mashed potatoes and gravy and 4 kinds of bread and pumpkin pie. And I was like, well, then I can't believe you're having dinner with someone else.
I'm like,
why even come
can't
over?
Believe we used to be friends.
Yeah, like for me, I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving.
Right.
As a holiday. And I know that a lot of us here don't, but at Thanksgiving, Christmas, a lot of those big holidays, even if you don't celebrate them for the reasons that is plastered across the front of the holiday, it still is a convenient time because everything's closed and everyone has vacation time to get together with people you care about and do something that everybody enjoys, whether that is a big meal or whatever. So we still usually have dinner. I checked one out called Upscale Down Home that had some really good stuff in it, and another one that was cooking for 2, because my problem when cooking is that I grew up here.
Yep.
And so even though I didn't grow up in a huge family, I can only cook for 12 people at a time.
Absolutely.
I did grow up in a huge family. So yes, same problem.
Like, yeah, I'm trying to practice portion control, not in how much I eat, but in how much I have left over.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, absolutely same. Because, you can eat the same thing for 2 days, 3 days, and then, what do you do with the 3/4 of that food that are still left?
Exactly.
Because you're feeding 2 people.
And not everything's, keeps the same. Okay, you can probably freeze half of a meatloaf and then thaw it out and heat it back up later. But you can't really freeze, an entire Dutch oven of chicken stew.
That's true, but I have had a giant Ziploc bag of mashed potatoes in my fridge before, and it kept longer than I would have expected.
Mashed potatoes are one of those things that I think it has something to do with the starch.
But there's so much milk. Wouldn't the milk make it nasty?
Right, milk, cream, sour cream, whichever one you use, you would think that would lead to mold or something, but I don't know. Maybe it chemically changes the butter, the fat.
There are questions about the giant Ziploc bag storage method, but,
Catch me at Thanksgiving dinner with a Ziploc bag lining each pocket, mashed potatoes in one, gravy in the other. See y'all later. I got what I came for.
I came from a big family too. Granny runs out of Tupperware.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's not Tupperware. It's the butter containers, is it not?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good old country crock.
Absolutely. If I open a country crock, plastic tub, and it actually has margarine in it, I am surprised, disappointed, and even alarmed, depending on whose house I find it in.
Would maybe contact somebody in Arizona and be like, are you having an ice storm right now? Because something's going on.
Something ain't right.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong at Granny's house. You better get down here. Mama's up to something. She's got margarine in the crock pot container. Or country crock, rather. Crock pot. If you have margarine in your crock pot, I guess hopefully it's the first step on the way to a big pot of chicken stew or something. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But so come check out our cookbooks. We're all trying something a little new. And I did mention Overdrive. So even though our cookbooks, some of them may come down from one side of the shelf in December as we put up our winter and holiday themed collection. Did y'all hear the bad news about Overdrive?
Oh, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, the final nail goes in that coffin this February.
I personally am pretty happy about that. I made the switch to Libby a long time ago, and I try so hard to encourage patrons to do that as well. And I think it's something about since it is a different app, they don't want to add something new. And I think Libby is just easier to use. So maybe Overdrive recognized that.
I think so too. They've been working on pushing Libby to the front for a long time, and trying to get people used to the idea that it's a different way to access the same catalog of items. So by switching to Libby, you're changing the interface that you use, but you are not changing anything that you have access to. It's the same ebooks, the same audiobooks, the same movies and magazines and everything else that's on there, graphic novels, whatever you're checking out on Overdrive is on Libby. And in fact, if you go to our Libby page, you're going to see our digital collections. You're going to see the Kentucky Library's Unbound catalog, just like you do with Overdrive. That is your landing page. I think it really is just familiarity, because I know for me, if I find something that works, especially in a digital environment, something that's on my smartphone or my computer that works, that does what I need, I'm often reluctant to let it go as well. I'm one of those people who I use Windows 7 for way longer than I should after Windows 10 came out. And it took me a while to wean myself off of some of the graphical programs that I use to do like the marketing and the art and things that I do here, and get up to a new different program that honestly is much better. But I had to get over that. No, I've used this one for so long and I'm good at it. I know where all the buttons are. I have to find new buttons. And Libby makes that really easy, because there are like only 5 buttons and they're all right there at the bottom of the screen, no matter what part of the app you're using. So newer patrons who have just started using them, I think pretty much always pick Libby, because that's the one that we introduced them to. But if you are out there and you're still using Overdrive and you're listening to this, consider switching to Libby, because Overdrive isn't going to work for much longer. In February, that's when they're going to sunset the app. And what that means is that security updates that they roll out for your Android or your iOS device are eventually going to kill the app. It's not going to receive updates. It's sooner or later, it's just not going to be able to connect to the back end of the Overdrive catalog, and you won't be able to check things out at all. You'll open up the app, it will run, and there just won't be anything on it, is what's going to happen. Not all at once. It will happen in waves, so that means that you've got time. But you have time now. You've got like at least 3 months, give or take. So definitely switch to Libby as soon as you can and start getting used to it. Use them both at the same time, because you can do that. Put it on your device that already has Overdrive. And if you're using a Kindle Fire tablet, that's the only thing, because those only have access to the Amazon App Store, and Amazon still has not approved the Libby app and maybe never will. I guess because it's a competitor. They want you to read Kindle books.
Well, the Overdrive app does exist on the Kindle Fire, so I wonder if that's on Overdrive's radar. I hadn't thought about that.
From what I've heard from them as a company, from their representatives, they are aware that Libby does not work on Amazon Fire devices, and they are trying to get that straightened out, but it's a long process. And Amazon sees them as a competitor because they want you to read books on Kindle and through the Kindle app. But also, I guess they can't get data or numbers through Libby in the same way. So they're trying to broker some kind of deal to get Libby on Kindle devices. But right now, if you are using Overdrive on your Kindle Fire, that will continue to work for a little while, but that will eventually stop working too. And if the app is not there, you can still use any browser, whether that is Silk or Safari or Firefox or Chrome, that you can put on your Kindle Fire device, and you can go to libbyapp.com and use the in-browser version. The only downside to that, because of course Libby is cloud-based and all of your borrowing and everything syncs up across all platforms, is that the app actually allows you to download the things that you borrow to your device and run them offline. If you are using it in browser only through libbyapp.com, you are not downloading, you are streaming it. So that means if you lose your Wi-Fi connection, if you lose internet access, you will also lose your place and lose access to like whatever it is that you're reading or listening to. It will cut off.
However, if the Kindle Fire is your only option, you can do the same thing through Libby app. And rather than reading on libbyapp.com, you're still going to have that send to Kindle button that used to be on Libby or Overdrive before. And as long as you can get that book added onto your Kindle, everything will sync up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can go to libbyapp.com, you can borrow things, have it sent to the Kindle that you already have in your hand, and then you can read those ebooks or listen to those audiobooks through the Kindle app on your Kindle Fire. So that is probably going to be your best bet. And if you're listening to this and you need help with that, making the switch, give us a call. Stop by. Let us know. We, of course, our IT guys are happy to help. Any of us are happy to give you a hand. And we've got time to do it. We want to give you as much heads up as possible because we don't want folks to be frustrated and confused when Overdrive stops working in 2022 and everyone's like, oh gosh, what happened to Overdrive? Oh no, it's not working. Because sometimes it does happen. We get calls occasionally. It's like, my Overdrive's not working. What did I do? And in this case, it's not going to be you. It's going to be Overdrive because Overdrive is going to be gone. So switch to Libby. Call and ask us. Check out libbyapp.com for more assistance, for instructions on how to make the switch. And remember, too, if you are a Power Library user, my favorite feature in Libby is that you can add multiple library cards for different people from the whole family, so everyone can use it, or even from different libraries. So if you have a Fleming County Library card, a Mason County Library card, a Montgomery or Morgan or Elliott or Wolfe County or Menifee County, all of those can go in one Libby app and you don't have to sign in and out, and you can borrow different stuff from different collections with different borrowing limits on all of those.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you know if the limit gets extended since those are all Kentucky Libraries Unbound? Is it still 20 or do you get 20 on each?
Well, for us, it's 20, I think, right now. I'm not sure how many, for example, the Bath County Library would allow you to borrow. But if theirs was 10, you could borrow 20 through our card and then 10 items through them on your Bath County Library card for a total of 30.
That's neat.
Now, that being the case, they may also have different borrowing terms, so you can borrow up to 4 weeks through our Libby, and you might only be able to borrow for 2 weeks on theirs, but you could still have those 10 items for 2 weeks and then still have our 20 items for 4 weeks, which is awesome. And it's a great way too to keep an eye out on different items sometimes belong to different libraries. So even though they're all in the same consortium catalog, that means that if you are borrowing it as our patron and we paid for that book, we bought that ebook or audiobook, then you will be first in line for it versus someone who is trying to borrow the same item from us with, for example, a Morgan County Library card. And if you are a Morgan County Library patron, you're going to get their books first before someone who is trying to borrow the same book with a Rowan County Library card, because that's a Morgan County book. So it pays to have different library cards at different libraries. You might have access to a few different exclusive items through their Advantage account if they're an Overdrive Advantage Plus library like we are, or just because you can borrow more stuff. We love our power users. So absolutely check Libby out. Get started. Make the switch if you haven't. If you're listening to this and you don't use Overdrive or Libby, it is absolutely free, and all you have to log in is your library card number and your PIN. So if you don't know what your PIN is, give us a call. We can tell you that over the phone, or come in and we'll help you get started using the app. And hey, it's that many more books that you can read or listen to wherever you want. So that's never a bad thing. Speaking of reading and listening, it's almost December, which is weird to say.
No, we're not talking about the fact that we are nearing our 24th month of 2020.
Yeah, it's true. It really feels like it. But we're going to try to break things up and celebrate the holidays a little bit, bring you some holiday cheer with our Holly Jolly Holiday Drive-Through event, which is going to be December the 13th. And that is 5 to 7 p.m.?
Yes, I believe that is correct, right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
And I'm not 100% sure about the time because we are closing a little bit early. So the event is from 5 to 7.
I want to say, no one hold me to this. I want to say that we're closing at 4. I believe that's what Jess told me.
I think that's right. That sounds right. It's either 4 or 4:30.
We're closing early.
Yes, we will be closed before 5. So on that day, make sure, especially like if you're here for story time or something, remember we are closing early. And we will have a really nice drive around event. We're going to have Santa and Mrs. Claus there to wave at the kids.
Ooh.
We're not taking individual photos again this year, but every kid that participates is going to get a book and some treats and a craft to take home. Miss Sandy and Jess have worked really hard on that. Everybody's worked really hard on that. We're going to have some other literary characters, I believe. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it won't just be Santa and Mrs. Claus who will be there. And of course, we'll have some lights and decorations up. And Miss Sandy is going to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" over the radio. So you can tune in, and as you drive around and enjoy the event and pick up your crafts and your free book and stuff like that, you can hear that poem being read by our wonderful children's librarian.
I love that. During COVID, it seems like people are doing more of those radio broadcast things, and I'm excited for the library to get in on that. I hope that we pick up on it really big. They did a theater show at the university that was broadcast through the radios, and it was very interesting.
That's super cool.
It is. And one of the things that I love about podcasts is that I grew up listening to not live radio shows, but like old cassettes of things like The Shadow and The Lone Ranger and stuff like that. And I had some of those old cassette tapes that I wore out listening to them over and over and over again. And you see how those were made when you dig in and learn how those were made. It's like, wow, they put a lot of work into this. There's a lot of talent there. The Foley noises that had to be just right on, at the correct times. They had to be done in a live studio. So they had someone over here standing on a table full of props, ready to make sounds for gunshots and running feet and so on. And I thought, that's just a podcast. Podcasts are kind of the evolution of the radio show.
They paved the way.
Yeah, and anybody can have one, and you can do anything that you want with it. And the theatrical production that you're talking about is kind of like that. You remember those old Lone Ranger and Shadow dramas, or things like Dragnet, which started, not on TV but on the radio. And you would hear these mysteries being read and people actually acting them out. It was a theatrical production. And that's what some of these podcasts have become, is people actually doing a live theatrical production and recording and putting it out there for people. I not long ago heard a really interesting adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. And it did not take place in the same time period. It was a recent production, but it was set, I think, in like the 1930s or 1940s. So it was well after Poe's time. But it was pretty much the same story, just adapted up to that time period. But they were using modern technology to shoot it in character and released it as a podcast. And it was really cool. So, yeah, I hope that other people get into that. I hope that people who are listening to our podcast get inspired, and considering how little that we work with to do it, like, you should know that you can do it too. And there's no better time during the pandemic to, if you're stuck at home anyway, to start learning something new. And it is a marketable skill. So, I mean, being able to use sound equipment and, audio recording software and things like that, it's not always equally easy for everybody to learn or access, but there are free programs out there. A good microphone doesn't cost that much money nowadays. And if you already have a working laptop, you've got everything you need to get started. So think about it. Maybe that's something that we could do as a program. Let us know.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, let us know if you'd be interested. And if you want to learn how to make your own podcast, we are happy to share our knowledge, brief though that may be, as minimal a presentation as that might be. So, yeah, so come join us for the Holly Jolly Holiday Drive-Thru, December the 13th at 5 p.m. And we have something else happening December the 13th that I'm also very excited about. And that means it's time for winter reading.
Yes.
Now, winter reading, I freely confess, I actually did not know as much about it until recently as I thought that I did. I made assumptions. I thought it was more like summer reading. It's called winter reading, capital W, capital R. I just assumed it was a National Library program. Nope. I assumed wrong. We all know what assuming does.
We all know.
We all know. We don't know. The kids don't know, but we do.
It makes you
But we
silly.
do. It does. So I found out not every library does winter reading. It's kind of a per library basis. So we're lucky to have that program and be able to offer it to you. And that means, like, Emery, you've got more experience with winter reading than I do because you've been more hands-on with it than I have up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel relatively similar to summer reading in certain aspects, but it's definitely a smaller scale production, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
During summer reading, we have events. I would say there's a larger intake of participation during summer reading. I think that it maybe is a little more difficult sometimes for us to advertise winter reading just because it's different in that, there's not a theme the way that there is for summer reading, and we don't have as many like events and programs and that kind of thing that go along with it. But I still think that it's super cool that we do it and that we get to do it and that we can provide it to our patrons in our community. And I definitely think it's worth checking out. So for sure, it's something that I don't think you guys want to miss. I don't want to miss.
Mm-hmm.
So still come in and be involved and be a part of winter reading.
In execution, it is a lot like summer reading, though, right? Like I read about as many things as I can during a certain amount of time and let the library know how I did.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And we're going to do registration, and we're going to have like a programming form for you to track what you've read, how many pages, whether it was read together separately, things like that. And I believe that there are going to be some prizes for people, but we're not going to be doing anything like a big party the way that we do at the end of summer reading to celebrate that. It is to get kids especially, but everyone who wants to participate, because you can participate at any age, to read more over the winter season, because for summer, kids are out of school. And I think that is often the major focus of summer reading, is we want to help schools bridge that gap between when you get out and when you start the next school year. But for winter, it's like you have less vacation. So people are out of school. Some people have vacation or off work. But during winter, you are going places and doing things under normal circumstances.
And I mean, it's a much shorter program than summer reading because obviously there's less free time. There's a smaller window of time that kids are out of school and all of that kind of stuff. So we can't really cram it full of the same amount of stuff that goes on during summer reading.
Yeah, because you have like 2 or 3 weeks in December, and then it's January and maybe part of February, I think. And it ends in, is it March?
Oh, I
think it ends in March.
Does it go on that long?
Yeah,
I was thinking that it ended in February.
It might end in February, or it might be the end of February, perhaps. But yeah, see, that's the thing, is because we know that there's Christmas, there's Yule, there's Hanukkah, there's Kwanzaa, there's New Year's, and then there's Valentine's Day. Like, people are doing stuff. And so winter reading overlaps a busier period for most of the participants or potential participants than summer reading does. But we still want to encourage people to read as much as they can and to not stop just because things get busy. Take a moment for yourself, sit down with a book, an ebook, an audiobook, a magazine, or whatever, and just, have a quiet minute and read. Remember that you can do those things, that you are allowed to take a moment and enjoy something for yourself away from all the hubbub, because the holidays stress us out sometimes. It's nice to be around people you care about. It's nice to travel, but also, winter, it can be a gloomy time. It can be a hectic time, and a lot of energy can be spent on worrying about preparing for the holidays and executing the holidays, getting the holidays off the ground and making them happen the way that you want them to happen, whether that involves going shopping last minute and buying a lot of stuff, cooking big meals, having lots of people over at your home, or going to see someone in a big crowd where normally you're not. And like all of those, even if they can be positive stresses, it's still stress. So take a minute, kick back with a book or an audiobook or something, and just, enjoy yourself. And then if you want a chance to participate in winter reading, maybe win a prize, you can mark that down on the sheet after you register for the program. And it's all gravy, baby. It's all extras. It's bonus credits. because you're getting something for doing something you were going to do anyway. And it's winter. Presumably, we're going to be snowed inside for part of the time. Might as well read, because at least you can. This is Eastern Kentucky. Let's be realistic. At least when the power goes out, you can still read a book. A book doesn't stop working.
That's true.
If we have a big ice storm, as we often do, and you live at the head of a holler, then when the power goes out, you can light a candle, or you can turn on your gas stove or whatever, and you can still read a book. Or if your phone's got battery, you can listen to an audiobook, So that's also an advantage. That is also part of the point of the program. We want to make sure you've got something to do when the snow falls.
I think that it also, though, like you were saying, winter definitely can be a darker, gloomier, sometimes sadder time. And it is more difficult, especially in like inclement weather, for people to get together and connect and interact. And I think that for me at least, having programs like this helps make you feel less alone.
That's a really good point.
Because, at least even if you aren't in person interacting or, around gathered with groups of people, you're all participating in something together. And it just feels good to know that.
No, I think that's a really good point, actually. I hadn't considered that, but that is a component of a lot of our programs, is that kind of like when we did the Great American Read, or right now on Overdrive and Libby, they have the big library read. It's the idea that other people are doing this at the same time as you. We've even talked about this on the podcast before with things like S and Ship of Theseus, where a community is created out of everyone enjoying this together. So yeah, doing winter reading reminds you, if you are home alone this season and you're not getting together with family, whether that's because you don't have any family to go see, or whether it's because it's the pandemic, and like a lot of us, you are making the decision to not go and see family in order to be safe because the pandemic is still ongoing, then it can be lonely to sit at home and wish that things were normal, or wish that you did have someone to spend time with. So spend time with us and do the winter reading program, because you are part of our family and we were part of our community, and we would love to have you. Now, as far as other programs that are going on in December, I think it's going to be our regular programming. Story times, for the most part, are still going to be Mondays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Toddler time is still going to be Tuesdays at 10:15 a.m. Now, if that overlaps with another program, like, for example, December the 13th, as we talked about, is a Monday. If we're closing at 4, we're not going to be having story time that day, because story times normally are at 4 p.m. Obviously, there won't be a story time. And by the time that you hear this, we also should mention that on the 23rd, which is this coming Tuesday, as of the time of this recording, when it's relevant to you, there will not be a toddler time. And sometimes that's going to happen. You can always check our programming page on the website, and we have a calendar there that we update so that we'll have cancellations, or you'll just be able to see whether a program is on or off. If we're having it, it will be on the calendar. If we're not having it, it won't. And you can add it to your own calendar. It's a Google Calendar, so you can add it directly to yours and get reminders, notifications, updates. Even if we have to cancel something, it'll go straight to your calendar, and you'll get a notification about that as well. So we're going to have story time. We're going to have toddler time. And as far as I know, we are going to be having Craftin' Around, because that also is going to be on December the 13th, but that is from 10 to 2. So that falls within the window that we're going to be open. And we are going to be having movie night next month. And that is December the 16th. And we are watching Elf with Will Ferrell. Well, we're not watching Elf with Will Ferrell. That would be a much bigger deal, and we can make a bigger deal out of it. We're watching Elf starring Will Ferrell, I should specify. I don't want to... Man, if we could get Will Ferrell to come down here and promote movie night.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
I wonder if any of us can do a good Will Ferrell impersonation. We'll get him to come hang out.
Yeah.
We'll let him... Will Ferrell or with Will Ferrell. You'll see next month.
Phil Werrell.
Yes, our friend Phil Werrell here promoting movie night at Shore Public Library. Yeah, well, maybe he'll show up when he hears that we have free drinks and real movie theater popcorn made in a popcorn machine that was kindly provided to us by donations from our Friends of the Library chapter, who do a lot of nice stuff like that for us and make programs that we host even better for you. So you should also consider joining our Friends of the Library. They did a membership drive just last month during National Friends of the Library Week. And I know that a lot of you stopped by and signed up, which is great.
It was wildly successful.
Which is wonderful, honestly, because we love our friends and we love to make new friends. So we would love for you to be our friend. So stop by and ask at the front desk how you can do that. And we even have a brochure. We've got buttons. We've got all kinds of information. And the friends now have their own Facebook page, too. So check them out there. You can follow what they're doing. And as they promote library programs and other things that they're doing in the community to connect with other organizations, you can see what's going on there, and you can even join in. We would love to have you. Now, we have some other programming that is still up in the air. There are things that I just don't know if they're coming back in December for a number of reasons. And the main thing is our end of the month programs. There's not a great time because we have so many holidays right in a row. New Year's and Christmas and Yule and everything is like all just squashed together. So I know I'm not bringing back our board game night, our on-board program, because if I did, the last Tuesday of the month would be December the 28th. And nobody's going to come to that.
No.
Nobody's going to come. I'm not going to ask y'all to come. Okay? That would be ridiculous. What are you doing?
Don't ask me to come.
Yeah, like what are you doing playing board games with me on in the middle of the night on December the 28th?
Yeah, like figure out your own holiday plans and your partner's holiday plans and your parents' holiday plans and your aunt and uncle's holiday plans and fit those all into the 2-day block of Christmas and Christmas Eve because you need to be here.
You're busy on the 28th.
On December 28th, you must be here to play board games with me personally. And if you're not, I'll remember it.
Catan or bust.
But so that'll be coming back in January. Device Advice might be coming back in December, but it might be January. Teen Anime Club and Writers Workshop, probably January. And I know some other stuff like Creative Coloring and Coffee and Chow Club are still up in the air. So, we'll have more updates about that as things get more solid. And if something is going to happen in December that hasn't been finalized yet, because there is still some talk about, well, we might have this, we might have that, on December the 1st, we'll let you know. So once that has been made concrete, we will push it out. We will advertise it. It'll be out on the local closed circuit TV advertising. It'll probably be in the paper. It'll definitely be on our website and our social media. So make sure that you're following us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Goodreads and on YouTube. And that way you can make sure to get all of those updates as they come through. So if you're listening to this, of course, we can only know and we can only tell you about what we're sure about at the time of recording. And so even though this is going to be posted and you're probably going to be listening to it on Saturday, November the 20th, that means that if we hear about an update on November the 22nd, we're not recording another episode. The next episode will still be December the 4th. So check our website, check our Facebook, make sure that you are following so that you can get those updates. Add us to your Google Calendar, and we will do our reasonable best to keep you informed, because that is what we do. We are all about information and community service here at your Rowan County Public Library. I don't know why I'm saying it like that.
It almost sounds sarcastic, but he means it.
Yeah, like I'm not being sarcastic. It's when it's like radio announcer voice. It's like, here at your Rowan County Public Library today from 4 to 7 p.m. Tune in to blah, 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 blah. No.
Okay, but what we do know at the time of recording this is that we will have some holiday closings before the next episode goes up.
That's true.
So we just want to make sure that we're getting the word out there that we are going to be closed on Thanksgiving Day, and we're going to be closed the following day too, right?
Exactly,
yes, on the 25th and the 26th of November.
Yes, and then we will be open the 27th for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why,
Saturday.
because then we're closed on Sunday again anyway. So, but we will be closed Thanksgiving Day, the 25th. We will be closed Friday, the 26th as well. And of course, we'll remind y'all of this again when we get there. But we are also going to be closed on the 24th and the 25th for Christmas. And we are going to be closed on the 27th as well, because, of course, Sunday is the 26th. So we're already closed on the 26th. So 24th, 25th, 27th, we will be closed. And we will be closed on December 31st and January the 1st, which is a Saturday. So normally we would be open for that, but that's New Year's. So New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we will be closed as well. So that's just a heads up. All of those closures are already available on our public programming and events calendar. So you can go and check that out. A lot of the closures have already been put on that calendar, even a bunch for next year, because we know what those closures are going to be, thankfully. So you can go and check that out and make sure that you are properly informed. Now, since we have covered winter reading, I want to talk about our holiday crafts. Are y'all excited to get crafty?
I think everyone's excited to get crafty. I have actually had a lot of questions about what like craft programs specifically we're bringing back for the holidays, because people are just so excited to be physically coming in and making things again.
Well, except for one-off events here and there that we do, generally, consistently speaking, our craft programs are probably our most popular stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I would say so.
And a lot of us participate as well. Because I know even if we don't make it to the program, each of you definitely has made the crafts that Jess and Sandy has come up with.
Almost every time.
Yep.
I like to keep them around. I mean, Jess always does stuff that you can have in your house as decoration or something, and things that will last for a really long time.
Well, like, for example, her most recent Craftin' Around earlier this month in November was when she did the upcycled books into the folded Christmas tree shapes.
Yes.
And I know that that was one that we talked about before that happened, that you guys had gotten to do, or Emery, at least you had done some that she set out as displays previously.
Yes.
And those are really cool. So it's stuff that we provide the materials, but it's things you could do at home by following along with the directions, or you could do something like bring your own book in if you wanted to and make a folded Christmas tree shape out of it. And so this Saturday, the 20th, like, I know it feels useless to say it because that's the day you're going to be listening to this. It's the earliest you could be listening to this recording.
Hopefully you haven't missed the program already.
Yeah, like, don't miss it. Maybe there's still time. It is a registration-only program, so you better call and register. But you could still make it because we are having 4 sessions at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. And this is the children's holiday crafts.
What time does this go up?
So as early as I can make it happen, so that way people can have.
So this is going to be posted at 8 p.m. because Morgan gets out of bed at 7. You missed it.
I'll try to post it like Friday night, like really late Friday night.
Midnight. That's Saturday.
12:01, exactly. Yeah. So hopefully you've already registered. But this is the children's holiday crafts where they are making ornaments that they get to take home. And again, we provide all the materials. We are also going to be having some craft programs that are similar for teens and adults. We're not leaving y'all out. So if you are 13 and up, then at 13 to 17 specifically, our teen holiday craft is likewise, we're going to be making some really cool like snowflake ornaments that you can decorate yourself, and we'll provide all kinds of art supplies and materials for you to do that. That's going to be at 5 p.m. on December the 6th. So Monday, December the 6th, 5 p.m. Now, there is no registration for that program, but it is limited seating like all of our programs are right now, unfortunately. So it is first come, first served. So show up December 6th at 5 p.m. if you want to participate. Be there. You don't have to register or call first, but be there at or before 5 p.m. because otherwise there might not be enough space for you. So if you want to participate, make sure you get in a little bit early. Now, for the adults, it is going to be registration. And the reason for this, because I know somebody's going to ask, is because We expect the teen crowd to probably be the smallest one. That's why we're not doing registration. We're just doing limited seating. We know that a lot of you who have children bring your kids, and a lot of you have multiple kids in different age ranges. Or you might be a grandparent, and you might have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 grandkids from different sides of the family. And so you bring them in groups, and that's why we have registration for contact tracing. That is why we have, like the limited seating. That's why we're having multiple sessions. Same thing for the adult craft program. We know that more adults are going to show up. It might be you and a partner. It might be you and a friend or a group of friends. If you're in college, it might be a bunch of students. And so this one is going to be registration only. You do have to register by phone or in person. You can do either one. It's whichever one you like. There are going to be 3 sessions. Registration is going to start on November the 29th. So the end of this month, you can register for the program and save your seat. The actual sessions for the program will be December the 4th and December the 9th. We're breaking it up to try and make it available to as many people as possible so different groups can come. So there's going to be a session at 11 a.m. and another one at 1 p.m. on December the 4th. Again, that's 11 and 1 on December the 4th. And there will be 15 slots for each of those. And then December the 9th, we will have 15 more slots at 5 p.m. So December the 9th at 5. Those are our 3 sessions. And y'all, adults who come and participate, are not going to be making snowflake ornaments or, Christmas tree ornaments, whatever. Instead, we have a lot of art supplies. We are making really cool, like winter-themed door hangers. So they can be holiday themed, whatever you want, but the idea is for whatever part of the season you want it to be for. You can decorate it however you want, and it's going to be kind of like, the wreaths that people hang on the outside of their doors so that you can hang up and leave it there.
I'm really going to end up here on my day off, huh?
Right,
I'll definitely be making one of those.
Yeah,
that's
Makes
what
me
I
think
keep
of
thinking.
Animal Crossing. You can give all your little villagers different door hangers, and they're so cute.
Oh my God!
I want to make one.
Animal Crossing in real life.
I know.
The new update came out like last week or the week before, and I have fallen down a deep, dark Animal Crossing
right?
hole
I thought
once
I was
again.
Finally free.
Yeah, I thought I was out, and every time that you think you're out, they drag you back in.
Animal Crossing purgatory.
No, well, actually, Animal Crossing, it hit at exactly the right time. And by the way, for those of you who might be listening and you don't know, Animal Crossing is a series of video games. And we do have some Animal Crossing here that you can check out in our video game section. You can even play Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is the one that we're talking about, on one of our Nintendo Switches, which, circulates here in the library. It hit at just the right time. Actually, did you know, you may not have known this, libraries and librarians got caught up in the Animal Crossing phenomenon. And what happened was, because the game involves a trading element, and you have a catalog in the game where not any, but most items that you have had that your character has picked up, even if they don't own them, if you just picked it up and had it like in your backpack, in your inventory, it's added to your catalog, and then you can order copies from the in-game shop of that item and have as many of it as you want. It's called touch trading. So because of that, a lot of librarians, when their libraries were unfortunately forced to close for COVID, they went home and they played Animal Crossing, and they built libraries in Animal Crossing and invited people to their islands and just posted their codes like on their library's website and made it into a library program, and they even counted it as circs for people who would come and visit.
Oh, wow.
And so cool.
Yeah, and they let people come to their library and check items out, and you could pick things up and add it to your catalog and then go home and you would have that item.
That is so smart.
Yeah.
I that's how I got my catalog finished. I don't think it was a librarian, but they did go through one letter at a time and had every item on their island for you to come pick it up.
That's awesome, actually.
In the same realm of conversation, but slightly unrelated. Will there ever be individual books in Minecraft? Because I'm just thinking about building a library, right? And you can visually, but it's just blocks of bookshelf.
Right.
So in the most recent update of Minecraft, there are, of course, the bookshelf blocks that have the appearance of multiple books that you're talking about. There are also individual books, and you can even write in them. And you can type in whatever you want.
Oh, what?
And you can have, there's a combined item that's like a book and quill or book and pen that you can give to other people. So like you can write in something and you can put it on a podium and other people can do things like sign it like a guest book or add their 2 cents.
Literally all I had heard about from the update was Amethyst Caves and axolotls. Nobody told me about those.
I didn't know about Amethyst Caves and axolotls.
Well, they exist.
So there are individual books, but they are not in a block. In order to use them, they can be used, I guess, like from your inventory,
right?
Or you can put them on a book stand, on a podium.
Oh, okay.
But you cannot put them on a shelf. So if you want to have individual books in a library, you'd have to have like lines of podiums and the books on the side. So you can do it, and you could write whatever you want.
But it's like a museum.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same.
Give us bookshelves.
Yeah, it should be like a chest or dispenser where basically you click on the bookshelf block and it will hold multiple books.
Do you think that we're like a big enough deal that we could just like reach out and be like, listen, Minecraft, we'll partner with you if we can have bookshelves.
There was,
no longer your Rowan County Public Library, it's Minecraft.
Yes. So yes, brought to you by your Rowan County Public Library, a wholly owned subsidiary of Minecraft Incorporated.
Brought to you by your Rowan County Public Minecraft.
Now, there was a time when I would have said maybe yes to that. Like they would have been interested, just like with Pokemon Go.
And, well, that's true. I didn't think about that.
But Microsoft owns Minecraft now.
Oh,
I think so. Probably they don't care anymore. Oh my gosh!
It could be done in some games, just not Minecraft. Stardew Valley is owned and run by one man alone, and he takes recommendations.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He has a page online where you can type in yourself what you want to do, and he moves it around from like something he's working on to something he's completed, and he'll let you know if it's in the game now or not.
Yeah.
His name's Eric Baroni. He's a genius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's published through a studio called Chucklefish, but he's the guy, like, he did all of it himself, which is why it took so long.
And why some of it almost seems rudimentary. Once you kind of tell yourself one man built this, he was, while he was putting himself through college. Like, this was a side project.
Yeah, this was a passion project for him.
Something he wanted to see if he could do it, and he did.
Oh, yeah.
That is insane.
And it changed the world, honestly. Like, it's fascinating to see how one person can challenge themselves to develop a new skill like that, and someone like him or like Toby Fox, the man behind Undertale and Deltarune, and then it comes out later in the wash that they have altered video game history forever because like Toby Fox blew the lid off of indie gaming. Now you have to take indie developers a lot more seriously because anyone could be the next Toby Fox. Likewise, Stardew Valley, because it happened at exactly the right time where a lot of other games in the same genre, which is that sort of role-playing, farming simulator, town-building, community game genre. It's a very specific thing, but like Harvest Moon, Rune Factory, other franchises that do similar things. Even Animal Crossing. Yeah, there hadn't been a new one in a long time. And he not only did this one himself, but he included a lot of things in it that people wanted from those other games that they weren't getting.
Yeah.
And so they loved Stardew Valley, and they loved it so much, and it's done so well that now that new Harvest Moon and Rune Factory games and Animal Crossing games are coming out, they're having to include certain features that before they were either on the fence about or had hit the cutting room floor because they know that people will not, like, they'll badly rate the game, or they won't want the game, they won't buy it because they'll just say, well, Stardew Valley is $15 and Stardew Valley lets me, date any villager that I want, or Stardew Valley lets me have multiplayer on my farm so my friends can come over and help me farm, or, whatever. So they have to put those features in these big AAA mainstream games now, and that's awesome. So that to say, that's a wonderful note to close out on as we wrap up this episode. We have all kinds of books and programs here for you to experiment and explore and learn new skills like that yourself. And even though right now is not like the Hour of Code or a girls coding camp or things like that are not going on at this moment, we've had those programs in the past. We'll have them again in the future. if you want to learn those skills, this is a great place to start, and we are happy to help you because we would love to have a book you wrote or an audiobook you recorded or music you made or a video game that you programmed here on our shelves so that not only could we circulate that and check it out to people, but we could tell everyone who came in and checked it out, like, hey, did you know one of our patrons made that?
And did you know that our patron included an RCPL expansion pack?
In this video game that they programmed to put
Look how
themselves
much
through
better
college.
this is than Minecraft.
Look, there's our logo.
There we
You can
go.
see it in the sky.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a community partnership,
hit us up.
Our calendar's open. It is a Google Calendar. You can add it directly to your smart device and get notifications. Did we say that? So yeah, come check it out. And since it is going to be winter reading is a perfect time and a perfect program for you to check out some books, some audiobooks, whatever, and maybe start to develop some of those skills while you're snowed in at home, while you've got some vacation. If you're staying away from the family this year because of COVID concerns, you're going to be stuck alone in your apartment or whatever, and maybe you're looking for something to do. Come see us and maybe learn a new skill. Tell us what you're into. We're happy to help. And if we're lucky, you'll do that, and we will get to see the fruits of your labors here as part of our collection, and that would just be thrilling. So, yeah, follow us on social media. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed it, give a like, subscribe to our channel and our playlist so that you can hear new episodes as they come out every first and third Saturday of the month. And we'll catch you next time. I'm Morgan.
I'm Atlanta.
And I'm Emery.
And this has been The Reading Room, the podcast brought to you by your Rowan County Public Library.